Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. So my most popular video ever is Top 20 Most Wanted Records. It has skyrocketed in a really weird way. I had no idea when I shot it was going to be such a big deal. Right now we're sitting a little over 800,000 views on that thing, so maybe we'll get it to 1 million one day. But I shot that video and I got a lot of people inquiring about what these records are worth. I even had a lady call the shop the other day. Poor old lady. She said that she had seen the video and she was ready to sell off her collection. She had all the ones in the video plus more. She said she had 400 records and she would settle for no less than $400,000 for these records. And so I thought that I would shed some light on what these albums are actually worth. A few of them are actually worth a lot. It might surprise you, so stick around for that. Before we get started, if you guys haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button for me. That would help me out so much. And if you really like my videos and you don't want to miss any, there's a little bell button down there. Click that so you can turn on your post notifications so you don't miss anything that comes out from me. And also, I have a record store in North Carolina where we're always getting in cool collections and things. So if you want to follow our record store on Instagram, it's at Noble Records, where we're always posting some really cool stuff that we're finding. So I'm going to go through this and go through each one and just kind of tell you a baseline price of average what they actually sell for. So first of all, there's a lot of variables. It's going to be very hard for me to put a number on some of these because depending on the pressing, some could be worth $10 or they could be worth $600. It just depends on the pressing. And when I say that, I mean like which edition it is. When they make a record, they usually don't make just one. Sometimes they do, but they usually don't make just one, especially if it's a popular record like any of these. They release a lot over the years, and so you got to know exactly which copy that you have. So I'm going to go through that and kind of dissect that a little bit through the course of this video to kind of let you know. But most of these are going to be the average price for a early U.S. pressing, and I'll go into it for each title kind of. But most of the people that are watching this video are probably going to be people that are trying to determine their value of their collection in the U.S. So that's probably, I think, most of my viewers. Now, if you're in the U.K., some of these are a lot higher, some of them are about the same. So that's kind of just like trying to establish a baseline price of what these things are worth. Also, I will add that one of the most common responses I get from people when I tell them the value of a record, they say, well, I looked it up on eBay and it's going for thousands of dollars. That is when people type stuff in on eBay and they're seeing like if it's an autograph copy, or like sometimes there's some crazy people on eBay that ask for crazy prices, but you can ask whatever you want. If you don't look at the sold listings, you got to go up and filter and look at the sold listings. Those numbers are green. That's what they've actually sold for. I can ask $1 million for a Herb Alpert record, but I'm not going to get it. So a lot of people, they look at those eBay prices and they see what people are asking, and there's always somebody on there asking like hundreds of dollars for an album that you can get for $10 anywhere. So those eBay asking prices can be astronomical. Those do not count. They do not matter. This is actually going off of sold listings. And I'm basing this basically off of what I'm seeing them go for in record stores. Now, sometimes online auctions, it's the wild, wild west. The price can go up way higher than they should. I've seen that happen. But just average prices that I'm seeing, fair prices for these records going into record stores, and what the prices are that I put on them when I put them in my shop are, these prices. If you're trying to figure out what makes some records worth more than others, I made a video called Why Are Some Records Worth More Than Others? You might want to check that video out. I'll put a link to it down in the description of this video. That kind of goes through pressings and all the things that make records valuable and not valuable and all that stuff. So go there. And you're going to get a lot of good information about how to determine the value of your record. Now, some of these records I have in my collection. Some of them I don't have in my collection because they might be wanted by everybody else, but not all of them are wanted by me. So number 20 is Michael Jackson Thriller. I don't have a copy of this. For me, I can get a copy anytime I want. Like I said, I own a record store, so they come in every single day. Thriller is one that I get a lot of people coming in. They say, I have an original copy of Thriller. And I even had one lady came in and she wanted to sell me her copy for I think $12,000. You have to understand with albums like Thriller, they made hundreds of thousands of them. You know, the original copies are not rare. You can find them pretty easily. So what are they worth? You know, average US copy is somewhere worth around 20 bucks. You know, some of them are 15, some of them are 25, depending on condition and all that stuff. But average price that I would put on it when I put it in my shop is around 15 to 20 bucks. You know, and obviously that is condition. You know, I have had them before that are sealed. Those obviously go for more. I've had them before that are in the shrink with the hype sticker and everything. The condition does matter, so sometimes those can go for a little bit more, but baseline price 15 to 20 bucks on Michael Jackson Thriller. Number 19 is Velvet Underground and Nico. This album is one of the ones on this list that's actually worth some serious money. So there are a couple different editions, and I'll kind of go through it with you. But the original run of them had a peelable banana, and it would look like this. And if you look really close, you can see how it's a sticker on top of a pink banana. This is what it looks like after it's been peeled. So I'll just run through this really quick. There's two different early pressings. So the absolute first pressing is this one, and how you can tell is the back cover has this guy upside down that's kind of, you can see him, he's a projection on the back of that screen. So that's that's the first pressing of it. Now, that guy found out Velvet Underground was using his image, and he tried to capitalize on it and make some money, and so he sued him. So they had to airbrush it so it looks like that. So this is what they call the torso cover, and this is what they call the airbrush cover. The torso cover being the first, it was recalled. These are really rare, really tough to find. This one's been peeled. So as you can imagine, the peeled ones are worth less than the unpeeled ones. This record ranges from, it could be worth $100 or it could be worth, I've seen them go up to $6,000, $7,000. So if it's a promo and it's like in really good shape and it's not been peeled and it's a torso cover and it's near mint, you could get thousands of dollars for it. That's a really, really rare record. But if it's one that's kind of been peeled and it's seen some better days, so this is the first run. The peeled ones, even this one being in kind of rough shape, since it's a torso, this could go for $300 to $500, maybe more, depending on if the, you know, a lot of times auction numbers go crazy on these. People just love these, so sometimes they'll go a little higher. I got really lucky on this one. So if this was like a unpeeled, really not, like I said, if it had all the bells and whistles and it was everything, you know, top price for this is up there in the thousands, anywhere between $2,500, $3,000, $4,000 sometimes, if it's like a perfect condition copy. Now this one, the one that is the airbrush cover on the back, these if they're unpeeled like this, they usually go around $500, sometimes more. If they're peeled, a lot of times the most common one you will find is one that is peeled, and they call this the third state, a peeled third state that's in kind of iffy condition. Those go for about anywhere between $100 and $200, but the peel makes a big difference on those. So I hope that kind of helps you with this pressing. That's about as nerdy as it's going to get for us on this episode, but it kind of, I think it was important to go through the ones, so if you have one, you kind of know, you know, what you're looking at. So that is just that record. So that is one of the more valuable records on this list. Let's get to the next one. Number 18 is the Doors self-titled. This is a Japanese pressing. This is the only copy I have of this record, but the original US pressings, they usually go, if they're in good condition, they have like a gold label, they usually go between $30 and $40. Now there is a rare mono copy that it'll say mono down here, or the label will say mono on it. Those are going for over $100. But the irregular Doors, if it's in good shape, unfortunately, a lot of the original U.S. pressings I see a lot of them are well loved and they are in bad shape. This is a record that's tough to find clean, but if it's an original U.S. press and it's got the gold label, it's clean, you're looking at $30 or $40. If it's got the red label, that means it's a few years reissued. Those are in the $25 range, but fantastic record, one to have, but that's about what they go for. Number 17 is David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. This is the original master recording. I've had some people in the shop lately asking me what that means. It says original master recording on top and why they cost so much more. That is a half-speed master of the record. Basically, it's a pure vinyl, better cut. It's mastered at half speed, so it's a lot higher sound quality. Some people love them, some people don't. That's really all you need to know. But they do fetch more money. So this is a rare one. It's out of print. I've seen these going for lately here, 150 to 200 bucks on these. This is the original master recording. Now, that's not the common one to have. Probably shouldn't even told you that number. But the original U.S. pressings that don't have that on the top, they're just, regular. They're going for 30, 35, 40 bucks, something like that. Great one, David Bowie. Absolutely love that record. Next one is Rubber Soul. This is a great Beatles record. You guys know that. Original U.S. pressings. Usually when I get them, they're in the $25 to $30 range. The U.S. pressings. Now, the U.K. pressings, there's some differences between the U.S. and the U.K. pressings. The U.K. pressings are generally worth more with those. They can be worth a lot. The Parlophone label UK pressings can be, but the original US pressings, the standard Capital label US pressings are somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 bucks. If they're in the shrink or they're really good shape, the price goes up. Like I said, that's the average copy. Next one, number 15, is Miles Davis, Kinda Blue. This is another one of the more value ones on the list. There's 3 on the list that are higher level. So this one, if you get an original copy of it, it will look like this. So they call this a 6-eye. So to give you a little bit of information, I put my sleeves, I put my records in sleeves in the back of the plastic sleeve that I have them in, just so it's less wear and tear on the jacket. I'm not pulling them in and out of the jacket and messing up the seams on the jacket. So, but this is what they call a 6-eye. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those Columbia eyes. So this is a stereo 6-eye. There's also a mono 6-eye. It looks a little bit different, but you still have those eyes on the edge. The original pressings are the stereo, or are the 6-eye labels. That's what this is. And these, if they're really clean, it matters mono and stereo. Those prices are a little bit different. But if it's a really clean 6-eye, a lot of them are going for $200 to $300, sometimes even more if it's clean. If it's a white label promo, a lot more. Those are really rare and really, that's a good find if you can find one of those. But a lot of them will be 2 eyes, which means instead of 6, they'll be 2. Those are, closer to the $50 range. But if it's any other than those 2, usually this, it depends on the pressing. Some of them can be worth 20 or 30 bucks if it's there's a lot of 80s reissues. And so but the original 6-eye label, those can go for a couple $100. I got lucky with this one, found it somewhere for 15 bucks. Was really thrilled to have it. But this is a fantastic record. Miles Davis, that record was huge for modal jazz. So, great record. And this video, if you haven't seen my top 20 most wanted video, I kind of go through the records. My goal for that was to talk about each record and what makes that album so great. So it's not all about money, but since everyone asked, this is what they're kind of worth. Number 14 is the Beatles White Album. There is a lot of different pressings of this as well, but and there's a lot that goes into the value of one of these. So this is an original US pressing, and how you can tell is it's got that serial number there. The UK pressings are worth more. The UK pressings, the UK, they actually issued them, some of them in mono. The UK monos are worth a good bit. But the US pressings, if they're in really good shape, and I did have people commenting on my video last time saying, I've got an original White Album, and it's probably worth about $1,000. The U.S. pressings aren't worth that much. If it's a really clean one and it's got the poster and it's got some postcards and a poster and all that stuff in it, if it's a top copy, it's in really good shape, it can go for a couple $100. I've seen it happen. If I had one in my shop, I would not put it that high, but I've seen them go that high on eBay. But the average copy that's got, if it has some loving on it, and it doesn't have all the inserts and all that stuff, a lot of them are going for 30, 40 bucks. You know, that's about what they go for if they're in average condition. But if the cover's really, really white and it's really clean, and also kind of really funny thing about it is that serial number makes a difference. So if it's a super low serial number, it can go for a lot. But the average serial number, US pressing, all that stuff, a lot of times these are going from, I'd say 30 to 50, you know, depending on the inserts, depending on the quality and the condition and all that stuff. Condition is a huge factor in anything. You know, all these records on here, if they're in really bad shape and they're trash, they're not worth much. That goes with any record. But with this one, that's what we're looking at. Next, number 13 on the list is Led Zeppelin 3. This is a unique pressing. That's why I'm showing it on this one. It's just kind of weird. This is a Yugoslavian pressing of Zeppelin 3. Just interesting, weird. I'm a huge Zeppelin collector. I collect anything that's weird or different, so I had to have this when I saw it. But Zeppelin 3, you know, with all the Zeppelin stuff, the UK pressings can be worth a little bit more. But standard US pressing of Zeppelin 3 usually goes for about 30 bucks. They're around the neighborhood of 30 bucks. Condition matters, all that. But that's what you're looking at on Zeppelin 3. This is one of my favorite albums. It's in my top 2 favorite albums. Absolutely love this record by Zeppelin. Number 12 on the list is Black Sabbath Paranoid. Now, this one's going to throw you for a loop. If you're not familiar with pressings and all that stuff, these can vary so much. So the original US pressings are on Warner Brothers. It's got a green label. This is an original UK pressing. Now, in the UK and Germany and a lot of overseas countries, they had the Vertigo pressings of the Black Sabbath albums. The first 4 are the ones that everybody looks for. Those first 4 Vertigos. Very collectible. I have them. I love them. They're some of my favorite records in my collection. So we'll start off with the US pressing. So the original US pressings on that green label, they've been going up over the past couple of years, a little bit more expensive. So I've been seeing those going for about 40 bucks. That's just what I'm seeing. If they're if they're really clean copies, you know, around 40 bucks, sometimes 30, you know, sometimes 25, sometimes 40, but if I'm talking clean copy here, about 40 bucks. The UK pressing on Vertigo like that, those, they're going for a few $100. You know, a lot of the Black Sabbath, it matters what country too. So like the UK Vertigos are worth more than the German Vertigos. It's just how it is. So talking about the UK pressings, they go for $200-300 sometimes. German pressings around 150 or so. You know, the Holland pressings are about 100. So it kind of fluctuates, but those Vertigos, that's what is on those kind of 3 Vertigos, you know. But so the UK pressings are worth quite a bit more, but if you're in the US, the green label ones, you know, they go for about 40. Coming in at number 11 is Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I actually don't have this in my collection right now just because I get people asking for it all the time at the shop, and I never listen to it. It is a very common record. I get it all the time, but this year especially, it has been a really, really hot seller that people are always looking for. It is a very common record, and I will say, like, you know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, you know, you'd see them all the time for $1, $2, $3, record stores all the time. Now they're going for around 20 bucks. You know, sometimes 15 if they're not perfect, sometimes 25 if they are perfect. But, you know, on average, I'm seeing them going for about 20 bucks, which is a fair price for a great record. But that's the one that I'm seeing trending upwards, and you know, it keeps going for a little bit more and a little bit more, and it has been for the last few years. So that's one of the probably biggest sellers in the shop. Every time I get it, I sell it immediately when I put it out. So that is one that, you know, it is one of the most wanted. Next one, number 10 on the list. This is one that's actually worth a little bit more. So this is one of the big 3 that is worth a little bit more. This is Nirvana, Nevermind. Now, not this one. This is a reissue. This is the Palace reissue. Really good sounding copy. Great, probably the most iconic grunge album. But the original 1991 US pressing, I've been seeing them going for anywhere from 300 to 600 or 700, depending on condition and all that stuff. Promo kind of makes a difference, not too much, but it's really hard to find an original US pressing of this record, especially a clean one. In the early 90s, you had, you know, everybody was moving to CD, so like you can find this on CD, you can find it on cassette, but to find a vinyl record of this is really, really tough. So if it's an original 1991 US pressing, you're looking at $300 if it's kind of in the meh condition area, and then if it's like a really clean one, you know, $6 and up. So that's what I've been seeing. Like I actually just looked this up to make sure my numbers were accurate. And what I use to look up prices on stuff is popsych.com. That's how you see all the sold listings for stuff that has been selling. So that's my resource for that. But that's just what I've seen them going for. But Nirvana, Nevermind, great one to have. Number 9 on the list is the Beatles Revolver. This is an original UK pressing. So the US pressings are probably, you know, those are one of the more valuable Beatles records along with the White Album. So they're going for about $40, you know, maybe 30, maybe 40, depending on condition and whatever, you know, whoever's pricing it had for lunch, you know, whatever mood they're in. You know, but I see them regularly if they're really clean. Like this one's in the shrink and everything. This is a nice copy. You know, easily $40. But this being UK, actually maybe a little bit more. But the UK has some variables and labels, and Beatles collectors go nuts over those weird little details. They kind of matter. So, but for this copy, if it's an original, you know, US pressing, you're looking at about $30 to $40, I would say. Beatles Revolver. Number 8 is Led Zeppelin 2. Now, this one, another weird one. So most U.S. pressings are going for around $30. Now, there is a rare Robert Ludwig pressing. It's a very, very early pressing that's a lot hotter and a lot louder of a mix. And that one's very rare, and those go for a few $100. Those are very rare. But the, you know, average Led Zeppelin 2 copy is going for around $30 if it's in good shape. I see a lot of them with some wear and tear on them that are going for 15 to 20, but if it's a good clean copy, around $30 for a good copy of Zeppelin 2. Moving right along, number 7 is Zeppelin 1. Zeppelin 1's about in the same territory. You know, there are some rare editions of it. Like this is a rare copy. This is that kind of purple and tan label. So this one's actually worth quite a bit more. This is a rare edition. This is a U.S. pressing, but it's just got a little bit of a different mix to it. There's a long story behind it, but this is a rare one. They're usually red and green Atlantic label, but original U.S. pressing of this is going for around $30, just like Zeppelin 2. The UK, there is one pressing from the UK that these letters are turquoise. That's the one, that's the big money one. That one's worth a couple $1,000s if you can get a clean one. I used to have one, but I sold it when I tried to open my record store. It was worth it. But anyways, that's a great record. Like I said, Zeppelin, favorite band. Can't say a bad word. Coming in at number 6 is Abbey Road. Now, this is the 50th anniversary box set that I have. And actually, with my Beatles records, I went over this in my the original video I did from the top 20 most wanted. But I actually don't have all the Beatles records, but I have the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lag box set. So it's got all those records in it. So when I bought that, I sold off all my, you know, Beatles records, which I probably shouldn't have done, but because I have to hold stuff like this up. But Abbey Road, fantastic, phenomenal album. This is another one I get people in the shop a lot, and they say, this is an original Abbey Road, and they drool over it, and they go crazy over it. And it is an amazing, fantastic record. But they made a lot of copies. You gotta, you know, it's supply and demand. They made a lot of copies. So, you know, it goes for $20 to $30 usually a U.S. pressing. You know, there are some variables. There are some rare editions of it and all that stuff. That's true. But by and large, most of them are going for $20 to $30, you know. And that's the fair price for it. Now, there are some dealers that ask more than that. Like if you go to a record show, some of the prices are sky high, but that's what we're looking at for a actual fair copy. You can buy on eBay for $20 to $30. So that's Beatles Abbey Road at number 6. Number 5 is Pink Floyd The Wall. Now this is a half-speed master. This is just the copy that I have. But an original U.S. pressing of Pink Floyd The Wall, if it's clean, I'm seeing them going for about $40 right now. Fantastic album. It is one that's very popular that everyone is always looking for. but it's around that $40 price range for a used copy. That's what I put them for in my shop. If it's clean, if it's not clean and there's some ring wear and the vinyl's, you know, good, but not like perfect, I put 30 bucks on them normally. So that's the price. This is a half-speed master. These go for quite a bit more, but that's neither here nor there. Number 4 is Led Zeppelin 4. Great album, obviously. This is another one. There's so many copies of this floating around. It is a great record. It will always be worth money because of what it is. But the original U.S. pressings are coming in at about around 20 bucks. You know, I've seen a lot of them for 15. That's a fair price. I've seen some for 25. But because it is a lot more, I see this a lot more than I see Zeppelin 1 or Zeppelin 2. I think that probably is why it's a little bit lower, but 20 bucks is a very fair price for this. Definitely worth that price of admission. This is a UK pressing. It's on the Plum label, so it's worth a little bit more. But the standard US pressing is worth somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 bucks. Coming in at number 3 is Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Fantastic record. These all are fantastic records, most of them anyways. And this is another half-speed master. I collect those, and with all my Pink Floyd stuff, I always have, you know, pretty crazy copies of them because that's, you know, it's one of my favorite bands. But a normal standard, you know, US pressing, they go for about 30 bucks. This is the half-speed masters. They go on for 75 to 100, but the standard US is going for about 30. Number 2 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. This is my booklet out of my MoFi box set. So that's the copy that I have of that. But Sgt. Pepper's is a great record. The original U.S. pressings are going for anywhere between 20 and 30 bucks. What kind of matters with the condition of the vinyl is a big deal on all these as well, but that's the average of what I'm seeing those go for. Coming in at number 1 is Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and I can say this is one of those records that everybody wants a piece of it. This is a Japanese pressing of this record, but the original U.S. pressings, what really matters with that is if it has, number 1, if it has all the posters and it has the stickers. So it came with posters and stickers and all that stuff. If it's got all that stuff, I've been seeing like original copies, U.S. copies that have all the inserts going for about 75 bucks. If it doesn't have the inserts, they're going for about 30. So, but that's a record. As soon as I put it out in the shop, it sells instantly. It's just a huge seller in the shop. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't be too hard on me in the comment section. This is just what I've been seeing them actually go for. Prices online kind of vary a little bit, but that's what I'm seeing them going for in record stores. Those are the fair prices, in my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, like I said, hit that subscribe button. That would help me out greatly. And also check us out on Instagram. We're always posting all those cool collections and things that we're getting in the shop in Matthews, North Carolina on Instagram. So check that out, and we will see you guys next time.